Hey guys, Iron Wolf here. Today I'll be bringing you guys some more commentary from the War of Twilight. I know you guys really enjoyed the last one. We've been getting a lot more matches done with the first round, and today on commentary I actually have a really special guest joining me. You guys probably all know him really well. Do you want to go ahead and introduce yourself?
UndyingNephalim, and I'm the guy who kind of put together this crazy game.
It is a pretty crazy project. But yeah, so he's going to be joining me on commentary today. We're going to be talking about a match between Zolrolt and Nani. Nani's a really high-ranked 0 AD player. I think he's in the top 20 right now on the leaderboards. He's mostly plays vanilla 0 AD, which we see a lot of players from the 0 AD community coming over for this tournament actually, which is really interesting to see. And Zolrolt, on the other hand, is actually a pretty much dedicated Hyrule Conquest player. He doesn't really play 0 AD. He's one of the few really good Hyrule Conquest only players. He recently, since we instituted the hero ban system, I believe he's switched over from playing the Kokiri over to the Gorons, which is quite a jump in my opinion. But yeah, so we're going to be getting
Gorons.
to the... I'm sorry, what?
I said poor Gorons.
Yeah.
They really need some work.
Yeah, they could use some help
in the future.
Yeah, but Zolrolt is a big pioneer for the Gorons and like how you should play them and whatnot. Him and a guy named Lilifin from Taiwan are like the two really good Goron players. But yeah, so we're gonna get this first match here on Gerudo Oasis. Pull it up here. So Kokiri versus Gorons. Zolrolt actually did not choose Saria as his ban, so Nani is actually playing the Kokiri, so we'll see some craziness here.
I'm still unfamiliar with some of the builds, so I might not recognize
right.
these players are doing until I actually see the result of them.
Oh yeah, you'll see some craziness for sure. If I remember correctly, something really funny happens at the beginning of this match from what someone that was spectating told me. We'll see how it plays out though. I think it has something to do with the Armos, but I don't know.
Or a bunch of Armos into a base or something.
Probably. That's actually a really common strategy for a lot of factions that don't
That's such a cool thing, like that I never intended. It's awesome to see other players like come up with all these crazy strategies that I never would. Like I never ever anticipated someone luring a bunch of Armos into someone's base. Now I'm probably going to design. I'm going to keep that in mind with some maps and probably design scenarios around some of those ideas. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that'd be really sick to see in future maps and stuff. But you see here on the bottom,
playing.
Sorry.
Yeah, I'm seeing the Kokiri there.
Yep, Kokiri, blue Kokiri here from Nani. Yep, it is very standard. You build right onto the bushes, and then you get your market grove up. Then over here we have Zolrolt playing the Gorons. Like I mentioned, very unorthodox faction. Very good faction though, in the right hands. They have some tools that help them out. The issue with this matchup though is that they need to survive to about the 15-minute mark, and then they can start pumping out keg throwers, and that's where they can start dealing some damage. But Zolrolt actually did
that's kind of the intent behind the Gorons. They're kind of supposed to be a faction where you hold them off until you can bring out your big guns.
Right. And I mean that makes sense. It's they're very defensive, you know, it's consistent with the lore.
Got some kinks.
There's a few things, but oh, you see here, he's using these guardians. This is what I was talking about. You see here, he's sending these guardians up here to get these Armos. He's getting another one down here. I think
those guardians could not even take hits from those Armos.
Oh yeah, this requires a good bit of micro, although I know Zolrolt says he doesn't have the best
doing
micro
both sides.
Yeah, he's getting the one to the south and up here in the north.
For both sides.
It's so funny. It's so funny to see here.
Pretty great.
Yeah. But pretty standard from both players. You see he's got both his rock sirloin mines up. It's really unfortunate that on this map there's no native rock sirloin, so the Gorons kind of have to build farms to get that food production going. Which, I mean, it makes sense. It doesn't make sense to why there would be rock sirloin on the Gerudo Desert, but you know.
Symmetrical factions is pretty difficult, especially when they all have different sources for resources, because that also depends on like the biome of the map.
Right.
Like half the maps, the Gorons probably won't have access to rock sirloin.
Right.
Well, I haven't decided if I'm gonna. Anyway, all those Armos.
Yeah, he's just bringing them in. He's bringing them in from both sides. He's definitely got the advantage here. He's definitely got the bigger army, if that makes any sense.
That's so cool.
Yeah, but you see here, Nani did get the Berry Cedars and Community Homes upgrade from his Community Grove. This is kind of essential to get your economy going with the Kokiri. You see here, he's finally gonna get these Armos in the base here.
So yeah, I guess the Gorons are a viable faction right now.
Oh my goodness. I just noticed. Right over here they destroyed that market grove, the Armos. Wow, that's really good.
That's so great.
I just remember someone asking me after this happened to them in a match. They're like, what's the Armos? Like I don't know Zelda lore. Like what are these what are these hopping statues? What are they doing? But it's actually really funny. They destroyed this market grove right there right before Nani could build it, and then they're causing a lot of trouble down here, as you see.
The Minutemen should be able to hold them off, though.
Oh yeah. We'll see. I mean,
the Armos, they have pretty decent armor values, but they should be pretty easy to destroy. But I don't know. It looks like they're actually beating up those Kokiri there.
Yeah, the Minutemen in small numbers, not a very good unit. However, in a swarm, they're very strong. But you see the Armos on the north side here, taken out. Still focusing on this economy though, not trying to garrison his workers in the town center just yet.
If I was him, I would have taken 1 or 2 Minutemen and tried to lure the Armos back away, and then try and switch back and forth between my workers instead of just have all my Minutemen fight the Armos.
Right, and you see here because he did that,
I'm gonna wait until I had a large enough army to take care of them.
You see, he lost all his Minutemen actually, so now these Armos just have
to...
Yeah,
that's what made me think that. I'm like, I probably would have tried to lure them away and maybe sacrifice a Minuteman like on the border of my territory or something.
Right. But you see here, these Armos causing some problems for Nani here.
Does the Kokiri player actually make a comeback, or are you not going to spoil that for me?
I don't remember, but if I did know, I wouldn't completely spoil it. But we'll see how things play out. This is a big economic setback for the Kokiri player here. You see, we're about to reach 5 minutes. Had this not happened, he'd probably be going for Deku trees by now. But because this happened, this really sets his build back a good bit. While Zolrolt over here actually getting his first battle chambers up and then kind of doing pretty well economically right now.
Saria?
Let's see. Yeah, he's got Saria. I think he's probably
Saria can be defeated.
Yeah, this is a counter to Saria, question mark. But yeah, I just remember...
Only on the map anyway.
Yeah. She's pretty strong, but you see he's got that Battle Grove up, so now he's probably going to pump out some Slingers and probably some Deku Trees pretty soon. But I just remember when Zolrolt messaged me his ban, he said Agatha, and I was like, wait. You're not banning Saria? He's like, nah, man, I don't want to ban Saria. I was like, are you sure about that? He's like, nah. I was like, alright. I know you're confident in the Gorons, but that's pretty bold. So we'll see how that.
I'm not sure how to counter Agatha's hive larva thing right now. That when you showed me that just I'm like, no, that needs to be fixed. That was not intentional at all.
There's one way to beat it, and that is rushing with Ruto with the Zora. Because Ruto's magic damage can just plow through waves of hive larva. So what you do is you build Ruto right off the bat, and then you go harass with her, and she can take care of the hive larva.
That's pretty awesome.
That is the only way to deal with the hive, mass hive larva or whatever with Agatha. However, the Zora, if you're fighting a Zora as the Goma, you can just go for Caretakers and Solkaris instead. So it's just matchup dependent. But you see here, he is getting Saria out. Probably the best hero in the game. It's pretty generally accepted. But
do you mean like her actual hero, like her as a unit, or like her abilities, her unique unit and stuff? Or do you mean both?
She's like, as a unit, she's not the strongest. She's good, but she's not like I think the best like solo hero unit right now is Ruto or Solkaris. But Saria is definitely up there.
Solkaris.
Yeah, Solkaris is very strong. However, Ruto does have access to magic damage, which is very strong. But as a whole, Saria, being a good unit in her own right, her buffs as well as giving access to the Deku trees just like puts her above a lot of the other heroes.
Yeah, has an effect on slingers.
Oh yeah, that is definitely for sure. But you see here from Zolrolt, he's kind of focusing more on his economy rather than like setting up an early game. Because usually with Gorons, because Guardians have the same food gather rate as the miners, a lot of Goron players will put Guardians on their Rock Soulline mines so that they can have some kind of defense. But you see here, he's just going for like pretty much only miners here. So he's very vulnerable right now. Let's take a look here. Okay.
There's the Armos, probably said to Nani back far enough so that he could, I don't know, maybe delay his army and build up his economy, and it looks like that's the case.
Right. The plan there was probably to stall, so that he could reach tier 2, which, as you see here, he is reaching tier 2, because usually at this point, the...
Oh, he's playing as Daruk, too. That's an interesting choice.
Oh yeah, Daruk is actually generally considered to be the best Goron hero, actually. Or one of the best ones,
yeah, Daruk's actually my current favorite, not specifically his unit, but I like his unique unit and his techs a lot.
Oh yeah, the tribal monk is actually a really good unit.
Yeah, the tribal monk, how he can regenerate. I love units that can regenerate. That goes for any RTS game.
Right. But you
Great
see...
health is just something I like. That's why I made the Vikings and Age of Empires too, because they're berserkers.
Really? Oh yeah. That's a really good unit. It's pretty good. But yeah, you see here from Zolrolt, he's actually getting a market up as soon as he reaches tier 2. This is kind of important with the Gorons because their economy struggles a good bit when it comes to like balancing their resources. You see here he trades all this ore for food, and he's probably doing that to try and get, as you see here, more workers. Just trying to pump out as many as he can. But you see here,
yep.
Nani.
Oh, he's got a lot of Minutemen there.
Yeah, not a lot of Deku Trees or Slingers just yet, but let's see here.
He might make a comeback against the Gorons.
Yeah, this isn't going to be as effective because he does have he is getting a tower up, and the Goron towers can plow through infantry like they don't even care.
Get up on time, or he might be might be screwed if he doesn't get the tower up in time.
Yeah, if he
so I'm not seeing many other military units other than that one tribal monk.
He really doesn't. I think he's mostly using the tribal monk to kind of like watch the outskirts for any like Kokiri rush. As you see here, he's kind of had him, go back and forth. But he is getting a Hall of Warriors, so he maybe try to get some Fire Warriors soon.
Warriors.
So it's a good defensive unit. It has its uses. Definitely not as effective as some other units that other factions have, but it's decent in its own right. But you see here from Nani, his army, 10 Slingers and 10 Minutemen, or cool. 20 Minutemen.
I've noticed in a lot of these replays I've watched that players don't seem to like using formations. That was kind of interesting to see Nani using formations there.
Yeah, so a lot of the time what players will do is they won't use formations when mobilizing their army because sometimes the units will like fall back and try to
towers up.
Oh boy, yeah, this is not going to be very good for Nani here. Let's see how fast these Minutemen just fall. Just, oh my goodness.
I'm just going off it. He's getting
These
out
poor
of there.
children. Wow. That was
that was, did not work out.
Yeah, that was not very good for Nani there, yeah. But well, like I was saying, what a lot of players will do is when they're mobilizing their army, they won't use a formation, and they'll use the formation though once they like get into the battle, because Saria's buff, for example, only applies when she's in a formation. So they'll use the formation when they get to the battle, but when they're moving around and like mobilizing, they won't. But you see here, Zolrolt doesn't have a lot of defensive units. He's mostly just got some rock tossers, and he doesn't really have anything to contest this besides his towers.
Garrisoning my civil center right about now.
Oh yeah. No Deku Trees coming out just yet though. He's got 32 Slingers on the way though.
All in on the Slingers right now.
Yeah, I've actually seen some players opt to go for Slingers as opposed to Deku Trees.
Actually, it looks like he's got some tribal monks.
Oh yeah, he does. Yeah, right here, kind of taking care of those Minutemen. Although they're just gonna get completely melted away with by Saria and these Slingshotters right there.
First, yeah.
But I've actually seen in a lot of cases, in some matchups, players will opt to go for like go all in on Slingers with Saria as opposed to Deku Trees, because Deku Trees, while they're good, in some cases it's better to put the resources towards Slingers. This is definitely not one of those matchups because you definitely need the extra tankiness to deal with like these towers, but I have seen this in other matchups for sure.
If he had went after the Slingers before the Minutemen, then might have went a little bit differently there.
Oh, yeah.
Oh god.
Yeah, you see all these Slingers. Yeah. That's a lot of Slingers. Oh, and you see here, he actually took over the battle chambers and immediately destroys it.
KOK made a comeback.
Yeah. This is actually really unfortunate for Zolrolt. I don't know what he's going to be able to pull together. He's building a bunch of rock tossers, not building them in a group though, which actually gets them produced a little bit faster than if you build them separately like that. Getting another tower up. I don't think he's going to be able to get it up in time. Go ahead.
Civil Center might not be as long as I think, but I feel like he might get that tower up.
Oh yeah, actually he's...
I can't tell his workers are dying off faster than it's going up. Yeah.
Oh no, he's like, I'm out of here. I'm not dealing with that.
That's going up before I can kill it off.
Right. That's funny. Yeah, you definitely don't want to mess with these towers.
Probably gonna loop around to the north and try and attack from that angle. That's my guess.
Oh yeah, you see here he's got a bunch of houses.
He's gonna keep circling around where there's no towers, probably.
Right. I mean, that's kind of what you have to do when the Gorons are just now getting up towers, because he could go around here and try to capture some of these houses because they're very vulnerable.
Forward to the kind of the building system that I want the Gorons to have. I'm kind of looking forward to that being implemented. I think it'll help them play a little more defensively.
Oh, really?
Their bases are going to work kind of like in the Battle for Middle-earth, where they have like a central sort of base that creates these like huddled plots around it.
Oh, right.
And you build a base on each of the plots, and their bases are a little more huddled, so it's a little easier for towers to defend their stuff.
Right. Yeah, you see here.
And I picture the Gorons as defensive, and while they're taking out his houses.
He even got their market too. That's really big for Nani there, because now Zolrolt doesn't have anything to trade resources for, and that's like really essential for the Gorons. And he's just taking over these houses and just immediately destroying them, which something is very common in this game.
It's hard to. I don't know what kind of resources he has, but I would have immediately plopped down towers on at least one tower on each each direction of my base.
Oh yeah.
And it looks like he's focusing on getting some battle chambers and stuff up.
Yeah, he's got one coming up over here. He's got a lot of extra food. If he still had that market, he could trade food for ore so that he could get some more towers up. But that's really unfortunate they lost that market. That's a big setback for Zolrolt there.
Well, yeah, all the houses too. He's not going to be able to get any units.
Let's take a look at his population. Yeah, he's down to 38 out of 40. He lost all those houses. That's really big for
Talk about a Kokiri comeback.
I know, right? I mean, they can do it. Oh wow, he went ahead and resigned right there.
Oh yeah, looks like the Kokiri win again.
Yeah. That was
impressed him at the beginning with the double Armos. That was pretty cool.
That was really good, and I feel like if he had pushed his offensive a little bit more, he might have actually pulled out that game. But I feel like a lot of what happened there was he kind of let the Kokiri player go. He kind of just left the Armos there and then dipped, because I feel like if he had maybe thrown some Guardians in there to capture some of the buildings and stuff, like that Market Grove we saw there, if he had left some units to maybe try and capture while he had the Armos covering him, maybe he could have done a lot better in the early game there. But oh well.
I'm not sure what his ore count was, but again, if he had a tower on each end of his base, he probably could have held off anything that Nani threw at him until he could bring out a bunch of tribal monks or something like that.
Right.
Unless Nani just mass Deku trees, those could probably go through the towers no problem. But
yeah, but you saw there
he wanted to go all slingers and not Deku trees, so the tower thing probably could have worked.
Right. So that was really unfortunate for Zolrolt there. He definitely had things in control at the beginning, but as we saw there, the Kokiri, as is not uncommon, they pull through in the end. Definitely the best faction in Kokiri Conquest for sure.
Till the next version's ready. I can't wait till I introduce Ordana and Laniru. It's gonna shake things up.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be super hype. I can't wait for them to come out. It's gonna be really exciting.
At release, Ordana is probably gonna be like the new Kokiri, where they're pumping out masses of really like crappy units.
Yeah.
I have a feeling that's probably what it's gonna be like before everything kind of balances out with patches and stuff.
Well, so long as they
Ordana's probably pretty popular for a while.
Yeah, and so long as they don't have Saria, we're good, man.
Ilia.
Oh boy. But we'll go into the second match here. It's on Death Mountain, actually. You don't see this match a lot in competitive 1v1. The main reason for that being a lot of players prefer to go for Gerudo Desert instead, just in like casual matches. But in the tournament, we actually made it to where during the second game, you actually have to go to Death Mountain. So the first game is played on Gerudo Desert. The second game is played on Death Mountain, and the third game you do a rock paper scissors with your opponent. Should it go to a third game, and the winner can choose between the two maps. So we'll go here on to Death Mountain, start this replay off.
Is the same two factions, Kokiri and Gorons?
Yes, it is. I'm a big fan of this matchup because it's interesting to see what the Goron players can pull off. We see here.
The Goron player's gonna win on their home turf.
Yeah, dude, they got to defend the mountain. Got to keep it canon.
And they got rock sirloin on this map too.
That's true. That is really big for the Gorons. Oh, actually,
That's
okay, no, yeah, there we are. I was like, where'd he go? But you see
He doesn't have to plop down a quarry right away, or not a quarry, the rock sirloin mine.
Right, you see here, he is getting a quarry right off the bat next to this rock
Quarry
sirloin.
for the rock sirloin.
Yeah.
So yeah, you might do a little better on this map because of that.
The Gorons are definitely a lot better on this map than they are in the Gruder Desert. Not only because of this rock sirloin, because this is also an easier map to defend on. Due to there being a bigger distance between the two starting locations, as well as a lot more dangerous wildlife. You don't have sand seals in the middle of the map that you can just walk past by. You have the dongos that you have to worry about, and tektites and all this stuff.
I have a feeling the Grudu Desert's probably going to become the final destination, no fox, no items, or fox only of this game. That's going to be what the Grudu Desert is.
It's definitely the standard for most 1v1 matches. It is rare to see matches on Death Mountain, but we see it here. He's getting how many?
I'm hoping the new Lanayru map that I'm going to include with the Lanayru province, it's a 1v1. I'm hoping that one becomes a little popular.
I hope so. I would love to see some more 1v1 maps.
Boss unit on the map too.
Oh yeah?
Which would be pretty.
We see here from
Hopefully that map becomes popular for 1v1s.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll figure out a way to implement it, especially if it's pretty well balanced and symmetrical and whatnot. But
it's going to be a pretty symmetrical map. There
okay.
On the north is basically going to be a coast, and then the south is going to have like this boss unit. But I don't want to veer too much off topic.
Right. No worries. You see here, he's getting this market grove right over here by his wood line right here. And over here, Zolrolt, he's getting a bunch of houses right off the bat. Mainly focusing on getting this rock sirloin.
Got a bunch of either guardians or miners. He's probably going to do an eco thing first.
Yeah, he's mostly focusing on miners. Zolrolt, I know, is a big fan of focusing heavily on booming economy, as opposed to focusing on his early game. I know he is an advocate for if I can win in the end, or if I can win in the late game, I don't need to worry too much about my early game so long as I can get to my late game, or just something along those lines. He's more of just like if I can hold out, then I'll win in the end, as opposed to Lolafin.
He's playing as the Gorons because that's kind of the intent behind the Gorons.
Right.
They're definitely intended to be a late game faction.
And they definitely fit the bill for that. Powder kegs, or the keg throwers, or whatever they're called. I get the names mixed up all the time, but they're a very good siege unit, probably the best in the game. But see here from Nani, fully upgrading his community grove, berry cedars, forest shrine, and community homes.
Is he playing as Saria still?
Yep.
Forest shrine. Then I thought maybe he was Marora and he was gonna bring out some Wolfos with the shrine.
It's very rare to see this faction when the other player bans Saria, but I myself actually am one of the few dedicated Kokiri players, and I have been messing around with things you can do without Saria, and I personally believe that Fado is actually the next best option to go with in a lot of situations when Saria isn't available.
I had a lot of fun trying to figure out what the heck to do with Fado. I really wanted him to be a really kind of unorthodox hero because one, he can't attack, and he's not going to level up like all the other heroes. He has his 5 abilities and you switch between them. So
that's cool. That's gonna be really sick.
As far as him,
you see here, Zolrolt, he's able to focus a lot more on getting some of these quarries and a lot more houses up because he doesn't have to spend resources to get that rock sirloin mine right off the bat, which is really nice. But yeah,
and he pulls up a tower too before the Kokiri go after him.
If he can get to tier 2 as soon as possible, he can probably get there pretty soon. Actually, what's his resources looking like? Yeah, he's got enough food. If he can just get to 500 materials, he can tech up and get some of those towers.
Get up and trade it for ore.
Oh yeah.
He doesn't have much ore, so.
That's true. How many does he have on ore?
But if he gets a market up, he could probably easily get the ore to plop down 2 or 3 towers.
Oh yeah, for sure. See, he's got 20 Gorons on the stone there, about 11 on the, or no, 10 on the ore, so not as much on the ore, but...
Actually, he might actually, yeah, he might have a pretty good stock of ore soon.
Yeah. You see here, very standard from Nani down here, get 3 market groves and then a battle grove. I don't know if we'll see Deku Trees this time around. I would think so, because Deku Trees on Death Mountain are definitely kind of a necessity. Because of the wildlife, you kind of need to protect your weak little squishy Kokiri from the Dodongos and whatnot. So
I'm going to be such a terrible player when I participate in the next tournament.
hey,
Be like, I'm just going to send, you know, my crappiest units out and they're all going to die from Dodongos.
Well, there's actually, I know there's been a lot of interest, because of the tournament, there's been a lot of interest in playing the game competitively. I've talked to a lot of people, both on the forums and the multiplayer lobbies and in Discords and whatnot, that have been, their interest has been piqued in the game after seeing, you know, the tournament being announced. So I definitely expect a lot more...
After seeing you build up this little multiplayer community, because my mind hasn't been on multiplayer much at all, because, you know, I'm still kind of escaping the Hyrule Total War, and there wasn't really any player aspect. So seeing this little multiplayer community, then it's like, I want to, you know, do multiplayer stuff now.
Yeah, I mean, PvP was pretty much non-existent back in the Medieval 2 days, but those days are thankfully behind us, so...
Like 0AD over Medieval 2.
Oh really?
And I'm really happy to see a multiplayer community. I'm hoping as I get more factions and just more people will gravitate and interested. I'm really looking forward to Ordon and Lonnie Ruin. I'm probably gonna main Lonnie Ruin the next tournament.
Nice. They're gonna be really cool. I definitely think that the new factions, as well as this tournament, has gotten a lot of people interested in the game, and will definitely spark interest for the next tournament, whenever that happens. But you see here...
He's getting a market up.
Yep, he has already reached tier 2, as you see here, so he can definitely try to get some towers up. What's his resources looking like? He's got a lot of food. Daruk, yep, went with Daruk again.
I'm wondering if he's gonna do the towers or if he's gonna do something else.
Well, you see here, he's trading a lot of ore for, or a lot of food for ore here, and he's probably trying to get some towers up.
Maybe doing towers.
Yeah. The Gorons definitely have a surplus of food constantly, so they definitely need to trade it in for that ore. Unfortunately, they kind of have to rely on the market in a lot of situations, but I mean, it's not the worst thing. But you see here from Nani, playing a lot more passive this time, focusing more on getting market groves as opposed to building up his army. Battle groves as well.
He's going for slingers.
Oh yeah, he's going for slingers. Nope, no fairy cyclude coming out just yet. Not reaching tier 2 yet either. See here.
That fairy seclude to go up so he can start pumping out Deku trees.
Yeah, he probably wants to get a couple slingers out before he does that. Either that, or maybe he just doesn't want to go for Deku trees. Which
yep, he's going for towers.
Yep, you see there, he's getting a tower, he's getting a Hollow Warriors up over there as well. Oh, he's got a hero out as well now. Something we didn't see last game.
A tower he's got set up in the back there too? Up in the top?
Let's see. Nope, it's battle chambers.
No, it's a battle chambers.
Okay.
There.
I'm sorry?
Is that a fortress he's building up there in the top right?
No, this is a Hollow Warriors.
Yeah, the Hollow. I wasn't. It looked kind of like the top of the fortress.
Right. Yeah. I thought that for a
stronghold.
second too. Yeah. Actually, he's going for rock tossers. You don't see that unit a lot actually. Not the best range unit, but it's pretty much the only one the Gorons have until they get bomb throwers.
I'm not invested in either player because I'm kind of like neutral, but for the Goron player, I'm kind of hoping I hope he gets a tower upon the other sides.
Right. Yeah. I try not to be biased as well, but you do kind of have to pull for the underdog in this kind of matchup, where you see the best hero.
If the Goron player starts winning, I'll start rooting for the Kokiria. That's just kind of how I am with these things.
Right. Yeah.
Like what creative thing they do to make a comeback.
Right. See here, he's got a couple rock tossers out. Might want to garrison them. Oh, okay, he's going for the power bracelets upgrade. Interesting. You don't see that a lot. Zolrolt definitely has a interesting approach to the Gorons. He's kind of the opposite of the other Goron player I mentioned earlier, the Lofin, the Taiwanese Goron player. He has a very different approach to the Gorons.
Probably because of the Mountain Eyes ability.
Oh,
Hey, Garrison, the tower with Darug is probably because his mountain eyes.
oh yeah, it's a good ability. Let's take a look here. Okay, he's actually getting one of the patriarchs out. Interesting.
Support unit.
Yeah, you don't see a lot of support units in the meta these days. Actually, it's a very rare thing to see. I remember Zolrolt was actually I guess you could say he's one of the original Hyrule Conquest players. I know back in Hyrule Total War he actually made a lot of YouTube content and Let's Play videos. But in this game he's made a lot of videos and stuff of him playing against the AI, and he and I were actually the two people that discovered the Deku Tree and Saria mayhem. He was definitely one of the early contributors to the brokenness that is the Kokiri meta. But we haven't seen him in a little while.
With drummers and patriarchs, that's interesting.
So he's getting another support unit out. Interesting. I know the
drummer should make them move a little faster.
Yeah, but it's interesting. I don't know why he would go for the drummer unless he's trying to maybe try a little play a little bit of aggressive.
Rival monks too.
He's got the one. Let's see, is he getting any more? Okay, he's getting another one.
Rival monks.
He's got some fire warriors coming out from his hollow warriors there. Definitely a pretty good defense unit in my opinion. One of the better ones.
Funny, because in the minds of the Gorons, they see the Fire Warriors as like the the invasive and aggressive unit, but yeah, they're so slow and tanky that they're kind of a defensive unit.
Right. You see here, Nani actually focusing a lot on groves right now. What's his resources looking like?
On up everywhere.
Okay, he's doing pretty good.
Looks
on
like he's adding houses to all of them, which is a good thing. They'll keep all the pop cap up.
Oh yeah, Kokiri, they build so many units so fast that they can reach the pop cap super fast. Let's take a look at Zolrolt over here. Doing pretty good on resources as we hit the 11-minute mark. As we kind of head into that mid-game area, he still hasn't hit 100 population. Usually, you kind of want to reach at least 90 population as you approach the mid-game. But as the Gorons,
scouting, I've noticed either. He has no scouting or anything. That's interesting.
Yeah, I've noticed he's actually been using a salamander, kind of queued up to patrol the outskirts of his territory. Probably wants to keep an eye out for any rushes from the Kokiri. But you see here, about 11.5 minutes, Nani actually reaching tier 2. That's interesting. See here.
See what both players are planning, because neither of them have tried to go after the other yet.
Right, this is definitely a lot more defensive of a game than last time. Okay, you see here's getting some of these Battle Brothers out as well. Sort
of a support unit.
Right. It's a commander.
So yeah, he's got a lot of support stuff. That's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, support units with Fire Wars actually, it's kind of outdated as far as Goron strategies go. Now you kind of just, well, most of the Goron play I've seen, and when I say most, I mean that the one other player.
One of the two players.
Right. He just rushes to tier 3 to get kegs, but you see here Zolrolt's actually playing a little more passive and aware of his resources, kind of focusing more on building up a bit of a defense before he can rush to get
He's
those.
Putting up over there. Oh, there. Now the Kokiri are finally going after him.
53 slingers along with Saria.
Oh, yeah, with Sariel. Yeah.
Oh boy.
Oh, and he doesn't have a tower up there on the top.
That's really unfortunate. Yeah, they could just completely flank him.
I'm predicting he's gonna wipe out most of the houses up there, just like in the last match.
Right.
He's probably gonna focus on those.
Right. It's really unfortunate. It's.
I don't down up there. I'm not sure.
I think this is a bug. This has to be a bug, but Saria does make the slingers range attack go from one attack every 1.5 seconds to 0.375 seconds.
that is probably a typo.
Yeah, there's probably definitely a missed digit or wrong number pressed when programming that. But I mean, there's still ways to counter it, so it's not too big of a deal. Still definitely very strong.
When I first released this, like I didn't expect a multiplayer community to be there so soon. So
right.
The fact that there's already a little multiplayer community, it's kind of shifted my mind towards that. So
right. And I know
what Darren and I are gonna do after I get Ordana and Lana redone is we'll probably release beta for you and the multiplayer people to work out the bugs and stuff before I make like a public release.
That's good. That's actually really good to hear, because I know I was talking to Exodarian and he was
I
saying
am
something similar.
I am certain Ordana is going to, like, regardless of what I do, right out the gate, I'm certain Ordana is going to be overpowered.
Yeah, it's like I was mentioning in Discord the other day, I don't know if you remember, but due to the fact that all their non-mechanical units can gather, they'll have a very strong economy, in my opinion, when they come out.
The intent of Ordana is, yeah, to have this really good economy and just constantly put the pressure on the other player. Just keep throwing everything at them, and distract them and wear them down bit by bit. They're not really an early or mid or late game faction. They're a faction where just they keep the pressure up until just gives up or can't keep up with all the peasants and horsemen being thrown at them.
Economically, they sound similar to the Kokiri, because the Kokiri right now are kind of in that situation. Not all of their units.
Kokiri right now.
I mean,
the Kokiri, the problem with the Kokiri right now is there's no stealth or camouflage in the engine right now.
Okay.
And that's kind of how I want the Kokiri to be. They're kind of they're supposed to be like a guerrilla faction. All their units will be able to become invisible when they stand still, kind of like the Night Elves in Warcraft 3.
Okay.
To be more of a guerrilla kind of faction. But yeah, right now the Kokiri kind of play how I picture Ordana is going to be, where they're just throwing everything in the kitchen sink as soon as possible at the enemy.
Yeah.
And just keeping it up nonstop.
Well, you see it. Wow, they're putting a community GOR right next to his face. I don't think the Goron player has noticed. Okay, yeah, no, he's definitely noticed this at this point.
Scouting it all, so.
Okay, yeah, he
definitely
noticed
now.
Yeah. That's hilarious. Just expanding right next to his base. That's really funny, actually.
There, though, so he does have a tower there, so he might be able to use those Kokiri units.
He needs to try and stop this, but while the Kokiri player...
What he wants to do.
Yeah.
Got all those slingers there.
Let's pull this up here.
I'm not sure if those Gorons are durable enough to hold off all those slingers.
Let's take a look at the health bars here. Nani's army looking pretty healthy. Zolrolt, his army also looking pretty healthy. Zolrolt does reach tier 3.
Fire warriors have splash damage, so if he can micro those fire warriors to go after the slingers, he might be able to do something. But
yeah.
He keeps pulling back, it looks like, and going after the Minutemen.
Yeah, I don't know why he'd be going for that. You probably want to deal with this community growth as soon as possible before he gets it up. But he does reach the third tier.
Somewhere else right now, because it looks like his units are just kind of like the AI would chase after something.
Right.
I have a feeling he's got his. No, he's got fire warriors going after them.
Yeah. I mean, if he can get in on these slingers, he can definitely deal some damage with that the good splash that the fire warriors have. But I don't know. You see here from Nani bringing in more slingers from the rear.
Notice he stopped building the grove there though, so.
Probably wants to try and take out these fire warriors and whatnot as soon as possible.
So both players are.
It's actually a very
interesting priorities.
Yeah, it's actually a very
some
interesting.
rock tossers coming in.
Okay, yeah, he just got some support from them. He's got some more reinforcements, as you see right here, bringing in more rock tossers from his main base right now. It's actually a very even-ish battle. Just take a look at.
There's Daruk right there in the thick of it.
Daruk does die right there.
Though.
Yep, that's a really big setback for.
Someone learned Tektites in there too. I see a Tektite.
Sorry, it's still alive though. That lone Tektite.
That's great.
No one's even attacking it either.
Tektites there. It's not just one.
But yeah, this is really unfortunate. This battle actually is going to end up in Nani's favor. And this is a big setback for Zolrolt because he did lose his hero, and it may not seem like much, but losing your hero is actually a really big economic setback.
Those fire warriors just go after the slingers right away. It might want the time to turn around.
And you look at the...
They were chasing after the Minutemen.
You see the pile of bodies here. It doesn't really look like it was an even trade in Zolrolt's favor. It kind of looks like this battle was heavily in the favor of the Kokiri, as far as the amount of units that were lost. So that's really unfortunate. Let's take a look at Zolrolt here.
Economy's good enough though. He might be able to just pump out enough units, and that bomb tower might be able to hold off a trees yet, I think.
Right.
So.
He's only got the one tower though, so I don't know what kind of defenses he wants.
If he had 2, or if he was setting up a stronghold or something, he might be able to hold off all those slingers.
Right. This is not a good thing you want to do right here. This is kind of a bad idea. You see here, he's kind of trickling units into this big fray of Kokiri. You see he'll send like some rock tossers, and then they'll die, and then he'll send some fire warriors, as you saw here, and they'll die, or Ruby Guard. That's not a good thing to do. That's you kind of want to regroup your army before you go in for another attack, because if you just let them trickle in, sure the pressure will be there, but your opponent will just be able to pick them off one by one. So.
Any map, I just saw a giant blue line heading to his base.
Oh no, let's take a look here.
Just a giant blue line.
Here come the Kokiri, the children of the forest. They're
I'm curious to see if the Gorons, and I'm certain the Gorons could make it come back as long as he doesn't bring out Deku trees.
Yeah, so long as he doesn't...
if he plopped down another tower right now.
Yeah, if you got like a tower, maybe like right here, maybe something in the rear, maybe even
kept pumping out fire warriors or something. I don't know.
He can hold out for a long time. So that's a really good thing that the Gorons have. If he can get another tower, maybe a stronghold, he can hold this line for a pretty long time actually. But you see that Community Grove is going to go up over here by Nani. Whoops. Oh, wrong player.
I don't think he has enough room for a stronghold down there now because the territory.
Right. Let's take a look.
It'll be interesting to see if he turns this around.
I'm
rooting for the Gorons now.
Yeah, this game is actually going on a lot longer than last one. He's not out of it just yet. Usually with the Kokiri, the game would have been over maybe 5 or 10 minutes ago, but he's not going for Deku Trees, which you do usually want to go for in this matchup, so he's not able to have that good tankiness to make a full like head-on assault just yet.
Not boulder shots either, so he doesn't have any anything that can really add several bomb towers. There's pretty much nothing that Kokiri could do until he has Deku Trees or boulder shots out.
Right. He is going for the Woodlands Reaches upgrade and hasn't quite reached tier 3 just yet. So he won't have access to boulder shots for a while. Let's take a look at Nani over here.
Yeah, Zolrolt could turn this around with the Gorons, but I'm not sure. It looks like he put down an explosive foundry up there.
Is that what that is? I can't quite see. Yep.
He might be going for powder kegs.
Oh boy, the keg throwers are coming out. This is
powder kegs. All right, he might be able to turn this around.
There's only 2 of them, but that's all it needs to. The game is even at this point, Neff. I'm saying, like, oh.
Yeah, if he can hold off those slingers, and if he doesn't bring out a bunch of Deku Trees, he might be able to turn this around.
Yeah.
He decide to go around the north and start taking out his houses. He might be able to.
Right. He's got a good bit of fire warriors out actually, and some decent units. But as soon as he gets those keg throwers out, it's gonna be rough for Nani actually.
Yeah, all the area damage that's enough.
Whoa. This is a lot of battle groves.
Is he gonna rush? Yeah, he's rushing slingers, I think.
Look at this. This is insane.
He needs to get those powder kegs down there now.
And he turned them all into community homes. 95 slingers. Oh my goodness gracious.
Get those powder kegs down there now.
Yeah, you need those powder kegs down there right now, pal. Crafting Grove. I don't know why he's building that. I don't know. But you see all these battle groves.
That might have been an accident. That's a pretty weird place to put that.
Right, and you don't even see that grove that often for most players. But look at all these battle groves. It's just so funny to see. There's right on his doorstep. He's got those kick throws coming up.
He's bringing down. He's got 3 of them now too. So.
Oh really?
He might be able to to wipe out those slingers with them.
He can kill so many slingers with just one power.
It's like he's attacking the groves with them. He needs to focus on the slingers.
Yeah, this is the problem right here. Like, Saria, you need to kill Saria. If you kill Saria, this match.
Those fire warriors might be able to I don't know. No, the fire warriors are falling.
Yeah, they're.
Yeah, again, if he had those powder kegs blowing up over all those slingers, he'd probably be taking giant groups of them out.
If he had been focusing these slingers the whole time, all of them would be dead right now.
They're going off on the slingers.
Yeah.
There, now look how fast. Yeah, he wiped them all out. See if he did that from the start.
But Saria might die here. Actually, what's her health looking like? Wow, Saria's probably gonna die. Dead. 43 HP. If she dies,
it's like he pulled her out.
Yeah, I think he got her out in time. He might garrison her in this one of these buildings. 39. If Saria
got like 90 slingers in just a few seconds.
Wow, that's the power of keg throwers right there. Oh boy, he's got the Okay, no, that's the. I'm sorry. I thought there was the
now.
Ferris Seclude. He got the
Velcro,
upgrade.
so
Yeah.
maybe he's going for cavalry now.
Yeah, interesting. You don't see cavalry a lot. It's very rare that you see cavalry at all from the Kokiri, and when you do, it's usually with like Gully or something. Although Gully's not a very popular hero. He's not the best, but it's funny enough actually.
Like start pumping out Deku trees now because there's the powder keg launchers.
Oh yeah. And you see here, actually, Zolrolt has access to these battle groves right here. He can actually start producing slingers of his own because of the glitch where you can produce Kokiri units from their captured groves.
Yeah, so yeah, Zolrolt, he's playing the Gorons how they're intended. Just hold them off until you bring out the big guns.
Right, exactly. And it's kind of funny too. Zolrolt actually pioneered a really good tactic, the Guardian Rush in particular. I don't know if you've seen it. With the Gorons, and he says it's particularly good against the Kokiri because what you'll do is you'll rush in there, you'll like roll into their base at like 2 minutes with a bunch of Guardians, take over some groves, and then start producing their units into their own base. It's a pretty funny strategy.
But I haven't seen it in a video yet.
Okay.
I haven't seen it with my own eyes yet.
I made a video about it a while back. It's been a while, but not something you see often.
The 3 videos you posted, I think it was earlier today.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Fado and...
Oh yeah, that was yesterday. I uploaded my Fado tutorial, how to play this broken faction in a less broken way.
Kind of distracted today by principalities and all that mumbo jumbo.
Understandable. Completely understandable. But speaking of principality and chaos dragons, you see these powder kegs are definitely the bringers of chaos here, destroying all these groves.
Burn them down to the ground.
Yeah, exactly, dude.
Completely turn this around with the powder keg launchers. It's pretty awesome.
This is like you mentioned, this is literally how you have to play the Gorons.
I see 2 more of them up on top, so he's got 6 of them out. Starts just pumping out Deku trees. I'm not sure what he can do.
Right.
Or he can mass boulder shots.
Oh, you
see I'm not sure how popular boulder shots are.
They're not amazing. Kokiri late game is actually not very common because a lot of situations the Kokiri will end the game early, and that's really only seen with Saria, and most people don't play the Kokiri if they don't have access to Saria. I've messed around with Kokiri late game myself a little bit. It does consist of some boulder shots, but it actually mostly consists of enchantresses, along with slingers.
That might be why he's going after elk groves, because a bunch of cavalry could take care of those powder keg launchers, just like closing the gap and getting past their minimum range.
Yeah.
He might have realized, oh, they're bringing out powder kegs. I'm just gonna mass a bunch of cavalry now and take care of them.
It's funny, actually, all the explosion effects are making my frames drop a little bit.
I think it's rendering most of the explosion effects because there's probably too much going on.
Take a look here.
I hope the Zero AD devs optimize the engine a bit more. I hope they add LODs. That'll be great.
Oh yeah, that'd be great.
A bit. Are you playing with the low poly patch right now?
No, I'm not actually. I play with the
low poly patch. Actually, it'll help the frame rate quite a bit.
Oh yeah, I usually don't have to.
Players have said it helps a lot.
I usually don't like struggle with frame rate or anything. Although in some situations like this, for example, recording, screen sharing, and all these Goron powder cake throwers, it does take a toll on my poor computer. But that's okay. It's still good enough. As you can see here, he's got all these groves taken up, kind of expanding into Nani's territory here. It's actually pretty much completely in Zolrolt's favor here, actually. I don't know what
he played a lot better this time compared to the last round, but the Kokiri player Nani didn't rush at all, so
right.
Yeah, he let the go. You pretty much you pretty much have to just put the pressure on the Gorons right from the start.
Right. That's kind of how you beat them, honestly. Like that's the way you beat the Gorons. You just have to rush them down before they get started.
It can be defeated.
Oh yeah, that's for sure. This is definitely a.
The Gorons are a viable faction.
Yes, they're viable. I've actually been saying recently that I personally believe, and I was talking to Feldfeld, who's probably the next best player in this game, or just one of the best players in this game right now, that the Gerudo are actually the worst faction. Oh boy, here come the trees.
He's got Deku trees.
It's time.
Yeah, the KOK, he might be able to turn this around again.
But yeah, I've actually been
Although the powder keg launchers deal fire damage, so actually those probably do quite a bit of damage to Deku Trees. But again, if you can close the gap and get in their minimum range, doesn't matter what damage they do.
Right, exactly. And you see all these slingers he's bringing out.
Yeah, those kegs are gone.
Oh my gosh, all these Deku Trees.
It's back and forth. Chaos Dragon was stopped. We got order trees here now.
Yeah, dude, the order trees. Oh my gosh.
The order trees are turning it around.
No, this is the plot twist. The Deku trees with the Chaos Dragon all
trigger
along.
half the people watching this video.
Oh man, but yeah, sorry.
Powder kegs over there though.
Yeah, he's got a couple. What is that? 1, 2, 3, 4 powder keg throwers. Although he's got about, if I count it correctly, about like 9 Deku trees right here. So I don't know.
The smoke effects. There's so many of them.
I know, it's like so crazy.
You can't even really see what's going on.
I know, like it's crazy. Like I just can't see what's happening in there. Okay, well, Zolrolt lost all his units right there. Unfortunately, he's gonna have to pull these.
It looks like Deku trees are a pretty viable counter to.
Oh my gosh,
power
smoke
kegs.
effects.
And Deku trees are intended to be a late game unit. The fact that you can get them out during the actually a mistake. So right now is about the time that a player would be able to start pumping them out.
Okay. Yeah, you can have about a half dozen Deku trees out in about 9 minutes, 10 minutes. So.
Yeah, that's a mistake in the way that it's a mistake on my part, but the way that tech requirements are in the template files.
Right.
Basically, they're locked onto the fact that you have to choose Saria as your hero. Like when you choose the heroes at the beginning, those are actually 4 different techs.
Right. I think
mistakenly only set the requirement to the Saria tech, not the city phase. So.
Right.
That's why you can get Deku trees out so early. That's completely unintentional.
Right. This is actually kind of a sticky situation for Zolrolt here. He was doing really good, pushing his offensive, but as soon as the Deku trees came out, he kind of lost the majority of his army. And now he's got to deal with about, if I counted correctly, 15 Deku trees and about 100 slingers on their way to.
Nani's economy is good enough to just keep pumping out Deku trees. So
right.
He's throwing down towers.
All right, he's getting some towers. This is a step in the right direction.
Yeah.
If he can maybe get a stronghold up and maybe some more keg throwers.
Hold up, that might be a little hold off Deku trees and just garrison the stronghold with a bunch of units.
Right.
Bombs left and right, and then backed up by all his powder keg launchers. Yeah, he might be able to hold off that tide of trees coming in right now.
Yo, it's the Ents, man. It's crazy. Look at that.
I would just pull the freaking powder kegs back.
Oh my goodness.
He's gonna get up in time.
You want to know what's scary? We could have seen this. We could have seen this about 20 minutes ago.
Yeah. Make it up.
Man. That's okay. This is not looking good. I think
Tower's
Zolrolt
gonna
lost,
do against those trees now.
Oh yeah, he actually didn't finish building this forward tower, and I think he just lost his entire army right there.
I think Nani's gonna win this one.
Yeah, I think this is.
And Saria's still alive too. Look at her up there. She's barely got any health left.
She's surviving. Yeah, dude, Saria will find a way no matter what to pull out the victory. That character is pretty good. Yeah,
they basically the sage of life.
Oh my gosh, the sage of life, but the bringer of death in this situation.
Even more meta and trigger your audience.
Say what?
Chaos theory.
Oh my gosh.
Life finds a way.
Life finds a way, dude. It does. But you look at all these trees that died to those keg throwers, though. Oh my gosh.
Garrisoning any of the slingshotters in the Deku trees? I can't tell from this distance.
I don't think he is. Yeah, no, he's definitely not. I've actually found that personally. That's not well. It's not that it's a bad strategy, but in some situations I actually don't like to do it when I play the Kokiri personally, because I actually like to have my slingers kind of towards the rear in a safe position where I can pull them out if I need to.
They wiped out quite a few Deku trees though. Look at all those dead Deku trees.
Yeah, there's actually a whole lot. That's what is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 11,
Out, kill it with fire.
Yeah, that's 12 dead Deku trees right there. Yeah, dude, just like in the Hyrule Historia, man, the Deku tree gets killed by the fire, man. It's canon.
But I have a feeling Nani's economy is so powerful right now. He can just keep pumping
Oh yeah,
out
he can. As
Deku
you see
trees to
here,
replace
he didn't
them.
need these Deku trees because he's got more right there. Like it's
getting so laggy.
it is. Oh my gosh, this is getting out of control. Let me see this.
Blew up all the bomb flowers there.
Oh yeah. Yeah, this is probably game
Probably
right here.
GG.
Yeah. This is, how many is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13,
I think
14.
Deku trees
Yep.
dropping. Yeah, someone.
There you go.
Yeah.
He had 15 or 14 Deku trees right there. Zolrot's gonna resign. That's really unfortunate for him right there.
Oh, just about died too. He almost killed Saria right before he
I know.
quit.
If he, honestly, I think if he had killed Zarya there, he could have won the game.
Maybe. I'm not sure how those Deku trees would have held up against the Civ Center, so
They would have done
he
decent.
would have screwed up the slingers if he'd killed Saria. But yeah, that was a pretty good game.
Oh yeah, that was
A
actually
lot
really
of
good
back
match.
and forth.
Yeah, you saw a lot of back and forth play right there. Just it was very very good match. It's really interesting to see Zolrolt, who actually doesn't really have much of an RTS background before this game. He was more of just a Hyrule Total War player. But coming into this game from the beginning, as I mentioned earlier, he and I, kind of the pioneers of the Kokiri, and then now he's moved on to the Gorons, competing at a good level with some of these really top players from the Zero ID community. It's just interesting to see players like that, come out, and it really represents the Hyrule Conquest community, because he's a dedicated Hyrule Conquest player. He's not playing both games, so it's just interesting to see, in my opinion.
I'm really happy to see a little multiplayer community, and I'm hoping it just keeps getting bigger.
Yeah,
That'll
man.
be awesome.
That's the plan,
That's
man.
kind of the lifeblood of an RTS these days is
Right,
the
it really
the
is.
multiplayer.
It really is.
Even though I'm definitely more of a single player guy, like
Right.
the lifeblood is the multiplayer. So
Right, and it's kind of a niche genre, and it's always good to see multiplayer people playing in these days. So, in my opinion, at least.
really the flaw with Hyrule Total War is I couldn't build up any kind of multiplayer community. That's kind of goes hand in hand just with the nature of the game too. It's
Right.
Total War is a lot more of a single player kind of experience than a multiplayer one.
Right. It has a very good single player experience, although I do think the lack of a multiplayer community in a lot of strategy games does kind of hurt the game. But like you mentioned, it's really nice to see a community like kind of grow with this game so early in its stages. I hope it gets a little bit bigger. I've talked to a couple people, and
Lonnie will bring in a few more people. I have a feeling that the Dark Nuts is going to be a pretty big
oh, yeah.
turning point.
It's a very popular faction.
The Dark Nuts.
Oh yeah.
They seem, at least based on what I see on YouTube and stuff, it really seems like a lot of people are just like they want their damn Dark Nuts.
Yeah, it's a very popular faction, and seeing them in traditional RTS form will be very, very sick, in my opinion. I can't wait.
I'd kind of sum them up as like a faction of like pseudo heroes. Like
Right.
a lot of their units are treated kind of like a hero unit where they level up and gain power.
Yeah, that reminds me of a faction. I'm trying to remember which one. I think it's the
And
Zeus.
in Age of Mythology.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking
Atlanteans.
of. Yeah, the sub heroes or whatever, the mini heroes. That's actually an interesting concept. I never really thought about that, but anyway. So that's the match. It's 2-0 in Nani's favor. He's going to move on in the winner's bracket, and Zolrot's going to move down to the loser's bracket. We've got a lot more matches to cover for round one, and the round one like matches and whatnot that happened this week. I'll have those for you guys as soon as I can. I hope you guys really enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed my commentary along with Nephalim's. It's really good to have him on here. I've been making a lot of videos, about this game, and it's really nice to, have his support in some of these things, and I hope you guys really enjoyed his commentary. That's pretty much all I have to say.
And I'll be back, and hopefully I'll be participating during I won't be participating in this tournament, but the next one I'd really like to.
Yeah, dude, that'd be awesome. Do you have any final words or anything you want to say before I close it out here?
I'm happy to see a player like I like hearing that a faction sucks or doesn't work, and then seeing a player figure out how to make it work in a way, and it's pretty great seeing the Gorons being used like that and making comebacks. So
right. Well,
I'm really happy to see all of this because it's helping me and Exodarian like figure out how to fix the kinks.
Right.
The game just a little more fun and fair.
Oh yeah, for sure. So that's all I've got to say, guys, and I'm sure that's all Neff has to say. He's a very busy man with these animations and whatnot, so I'll let him go. But
it's time to leave Earth and go back into the land of principality.
Oh my gosh, bruh. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. Be sure to like and subscribe. I'll leave a link to the bracket in the description so you guys can check that out if you're still interested. I'll leave a link to my Discord, like I said in the past. You can feel free to join there. We talk about the game, strategies, discussion, meta game, like review videos, things like that, and replay. So feel free to join that. And be sure to like and subscribe. And I hope I'll see you guys next time.